Was this cool? Or is this an unholy amalgamation of two extremely different hobbies that should never have happened in the first place? I was just minding my own business the other day, mindlessly scrolling through Reddit, as I usually do, when I saw this.
Gaming PC in a fish tank. Let's build gaming PC in a fish tank. This PC build starts with a fluval tank complete with RGB lighting. Let's let it rip. Now that this thing is done, let us know, would you rock a fish tank PC? Fish tank PC.
Extremely interested. I had to investigate further. Okay, let's watch this video together.
Let's build it. The first time we built a tank PC, everyone debated the liquid we used. Well, today,
what am I looking at?
This PC build starts with a fluval tank
It's a fluval
complete
flex.
with RGB lighting. And you know we had to get the UV reactive
pretty
pebbles
rocks.
and plants. Oh, and I almost
UV
forgot
plants?
Scuba Steve. Let's get the top off this tank and get to work putting it.
Yeah, my mind is just a little bit blown right now. And this is such a cool looking project. And I have no idea what's happening because I don't build computers.
We'll plug in these power supply extensions, and it's time to start prettying up this tank.
Yeah, I like
you can
that.
already tell this thing's gonna start to look good. I don't know what it is about these little pebbles, but they're so satisfying. And
I'm actually very
Steve,
pro UV
lastly
reactive
throwing in the plants,
decorations
and then it's
because I'm a
onto
huge
liquid
sucker for
reveal.
colors.
We use Submer 3.0. It's a fully biodegradable dielectric coolant. It doesn't evaporate and has a shelf life of 15
not water.
years. The Flu
It's a
Special,
coolant.
patented by Submer.
It's a
As this thing
coolant.
fills, we know it feels unnatural to have electronics submerged under fluid. Feels unnatural.
Yeah, it's
That's exactly
unnatural.
what this stuff is made
What's
for.
even
It's
happening?
non-conductive. And the cooling efficiency of liquid is
It's
8
so
to 10
pretty.
times better than air.
And I don't
But
really
what
understand
steps
it.
this up
So
tank
it's
killer?
not water,
This
it
allows
is
us
a
to drop the
coolant
temperature of the tank
which
to 50
cools
degrees
computer parts
Fahrenheit
very
before we
rapidly.
power-
And on top of that, they're attaching a chiller to it. What are they doing with this computer?
Let's let it rip. Now that this thing is done, let us know, would you rock a fish tank PC?
Yeah, I'd rock a fish tank PC. This guy made a beautiful, oily fish tank computer, but there's no fish in it because there's no water in it. It's interesting! Of course, I still don't really know what I'm looking at. This is blowing my mind. Anyone else watching this, did you know this was a thing? Because I didn't know this was a thing. Have I been living under a rock? Does everyone except me know that there are oily fish tank computers out there? And I'm just the loser who doesn't know? Or is this just not a thing? I went into the comments. It's a thing. Some folks like to put their PC build into mineral oil. It's superb at cooling, which depending on where you live may be really hard or even costly to do through other means. This guy just spruced up that idea by making it look like a fish tank. That's all. I guess it's for people who just are way too awesome to have regular old mainstream computers. Wow. Mineral oil computers have been a thing for a couple decades, apparently. But still, seeing this guy pouring this stuff on all this really expensive computer hardware and it doesn't explode, like, I didn't know this was a thing. I guess I'm just late to the party here. This one Reddit post has piqued my curiosity. I'm gonna learn more about fish tank computers. Tank computers. What? This one actually has fish in it. What? What? He has Endlers. Ugh. What on earth? This is a fish tank. Half of it's water and half of it looks like it's mineral oil because they don't mix, right? The water's sitting on top and the mineral oil's sitting on the bottom. This person actually has his graphics card, a very expensive graphics card in the tank. Wow. It's soaked in clear mineral oil. And this is crazy. I wonder if the fish on top are being heated. Like if the mineral oil is warm from cooling down the graphics card and it keeps the water warm, I don't know. Okay, so it's like a little tank within a bigger tank, and that's how he's separating out the water from the oil, is this little divider. And and there's parts on the back that are not in the mineral oil. You know, he has a nice little light, he has some Java fern growing, nice little rock, and it looks like the water is being filtered. It's not very much water, it's a pretty small volume, but if he changed it and just made sure that the water quality stayed nice, I mean, this is like an actual legit fish tank. I'm very impressed and a little weirded out, but in a good way. I cringe at the thought of these really not cheap parts being submerged in oil. That just, I don't like it. It makes me feel weird, but you know what? It's their computer parts, they can do what they want, right? So they're putting the layer of water on top. Okay, it looks like they put Java moss on the little rock too. That's a nice touch. And there go the Endlers. And the Endlers are like trying to figure out what's happening. They have no idea what's going on. Like, why can't I swim down? That's really interesting. Jeez. This is obviously a computer that was done like at a show. Like maybe they're showcasing something at a convention because they built it right there. I mean, I'd be interested to know long term, is this actually feasible? But I don't see that information here because I think it was just a showpiece. Oh my gosh, I have to look for more. Okay, here's one that isn't just a showpiece. This is someone's actual gaming rig that they built. This one is much more like a normal fish tank because it is. This guy actually made a glass partition within his fish tank. And that partition is where he has all of his computer parts and the oil, and that's where it's being cooled. It's an actual fish tank, it just has a computer inside of it. This is actually really neat, and I think it's really creative, and I like his little skeleton guy in there. He's kind of cool. I'd be really interested to know what temperature his tank is staying at. Is the warmth from his computer, is it able to keep the fish tank at a stable temperature? In the video, he goes through like how he built it. I think it's cool, I think it's really creative. Another interesting fish tank computer. So far, the fish tanks have been really creative and interesting and cool, but I found one that I definitely don't like. Not because it doesn't look cool, like it looks very cool. LED lights with glowfish is an aesthetic that I actually really, really like. I don't just like it, I love it. If you need proof, this was my Halloween costume last year. It was a rave skeleton. I love glowfish plus LED lights plus glowing things, and I'm gonna have a tank like that someday. Hate on me all you want. You know what? I'm bound to have some unpopular opinions. This computer fish tank, it looks really, really neat. And even though it's really creative, it's way too small. Like way too small. These little fish barely have any water volume at all. Like what is that, like a few gallons maybe? Just to clarify, the fish only have the little outer ring out here. It's difficult to keep water quality high for fish to live in and be healthy and happy, you know, when the water volume is so tiny. The smaller your water volume, the more prone it is to just fluctuating levels and having your filter cycle crash and ammonia levels skyrocket, and you have to change it more often. It's one of the reasons why I always recommend betta fish lovers to have larger volumes of water, like 5 or 10 gallon tanks. Because anything smaller, yes, it's doable, but you have to be on it. You have to pay much more attention to water quality and be on it. But hey, we don't know. Maybe this guy is an absolute like water changing fanatic and he loves changing fish tank water. And he totally keeps these fish in there full time and they're super, super healthy because their water's so high quality all the time, right? Maybe. Let's stay optimistic. I think that this PC was built more as a creative art piece for a convention because this person is actually at a PC gaming convention and probably doesn't keep fish in his computer at all times. I think it was an attention grabber for his skills as a PC builder and a creative person. Part of me hopes that this fish enthusiast has a real, much larger, fully cycled filtered tank at home that these glowfish live in full time. There are a bunch of really neat aquarium PCs, mineral oil PCs, that don't actually have fish in them. Like no water, no fish, it's just mineral oil or coolant. But they still look really neat and they have the fish tank vibes. And I especially like it when they have like LED lights. I could totally get into that if I was brave enough to actually try. I just found a really cool one. This is a fish tank PC in a different sense. Wait for it. How neat is that? This fish keeper turned a case into a fully functional aquarium. It has a viewing window, it holds water. He even made a lovely external filter for it. You can tell a lot of thought and care went into making this one, and it looks really neat. I would totally do this. But I would plug a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse into it, so that way when somebody goes to like turn on the computer, it won't work, and then they'll look over and be really confused for a second. I seriously thought this was a tiny saltwater tank for a second and a half too long than I should have taken me. They're plastic, Taylor. It's still very cute. I love this. I would totally have this. He even goes into detail about how he made it. I think that PC Gamer PC probably should have had little plastic fish like this. This one doesn't have fish in it, but it gets a special mention because of its very cool BioShock theme. A+. This one also gets special mention because I love it. It's an old iMac computer that somebody turned into a fish tank. And oh man, this is nostalgic. It's called the MACquarium. A+. Okay, now I'm starting to get distracted by people turning their TVs into aquariums, which I highly approve of. And I kind of want. How nice would that be? Hey, buddy. This one's different. It's a computer monitor fish tank. So now when you're trying to write down like that nice hollandaise sauce recipe, it can be like this. Now how much salt? How much salt? People can be so creative when it comes to the things and the hobbies that they love to do. I respect that. I like that. I like seeing all this fun, creative stuff that I didn't even know existed. But to merge the two hobbies, like to merge PC gaming and aquariums into one thing, that just blows my mind. I respect it. I respect it as a work of art. I respect it as an actual gaming PC. What do you think, guys? Was this fascinating or what? Was this cool? Or is this an unholy amalgamation of two extremely different hobbies that should never have happened in the first place? Thanks so much for watching, guys. I've never done a commentary video like this, and as soon as I learned about the subject, I knew I had to. Thanks so much for sticking around. Thanks to my really awesome and generous patrons. I love you guys. Maybe I'll do some more commentary videos someday as I find more and more interesting things. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.